Good morning, everyone. We welcome Joy Hollingsworth, our new City Council member for our new District 3. Here with her is Alex Altschuler, her District 3 Director. Joy Hollingsworth is one of us. She went to Stevens Elementary, Tops at Seward, and Meany Middle School while spending her summers at Garfield Community Center. Her mother spent her career connecting vulnerable neighbors with housing options, while her father worked for Equity in South Seattle as a longtime employee of the Parks Department. Her grandmother, you've heard of her, the first African-American woman to be elected to a school board in Washington State, and was a fierce advocate for families and opportunity throughout her life. Joy Hollingsworth played college basketball for the University of San Francisco and the University of Arizona, and was assistant coach at Seattle University. Building on her lifelong commitment to policies that support community solutions, Joy most recently served as part of the Food Access Network team at Northwest Harvest, where she connected community organizations to resources by growing food justice through collective action. Because you and your family are of these parts, we look to you to see what your goals and expectations for our area are and how you are working with the entire council on downtown Seattle. Horizon House used to be in Seattle District 7. Please review for us the boundaries of District 3. And as you go, there's a handout on the table. And rather than have a PowerPoint, we'll invite you to take that home and read some more. So thank you again for being here, Joy Hollingsworth. Hold it like this.
Yes, ma'am. They told me to hold it like an ice cream cone. Thank you. And that's easy for me. I love ice cream. Good morning. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm very honored. This is my third time at Horizon House. The first time was for a debate with the other people running, and then also debated Alex Hudson, who was here when we had after the primary for the general election. And I was very honored to meet a lot of you. I had asked you for your vote, and I told you all that if you voted for me, I would play you the piano. You all voted for me, so I will be scheduling a date where I will come back and do a concert for the piano. Only if you voted for me. If you didn't, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Everyone could come. So I do have this. I didn't make a PowerPoint presentation. I wanted you to have something where you could take home and read it and be able to have access to it. I know sometimes PowerPoint presentations are a little bit hard to follow, but I do have this in the back for you as well. And this is what I'll be using to go along the presentation that I'll be doing today. So. The first thing, Miss Joan introduced, I have Alex Altschuler here. She's our district director. She joined us from Southern California. Don't give her too much headache. She is a Trojan, USC, but she did her grad school at University of Washington, which we have, we give her credit for. I also have a chief of staff. His name is Anthony Derrick. Anthony Derrick has worked a long time in government. He worked most recently for Jenny Durkin, and then also for Ann Davidson. And then he took about 1.5 years off, and then I begged him to come back to the city, which he obliged by, and he's been phenomenal so far. I also have Logan Bowers. He is our policy director. Logan actually ran for city council back in 2019. He's a Leschi resident. He has a family, young son. He's been phenomenal with expressing a lot of really good policy wonk. So helps us navigate certain things, especially for all the issues that we have coming up with our city that are very city related. that are very wonky. Logan's been great. We also will be adding a fourth person. They will be part-time. They will be our community, just like in the district community person, which is going to be very, very important because there are a ton of meetings and ton of places that I have to be, particularly for this district. It's very dense. There's a lot of different neighborhoods. We're reconnecting a lot of the different areas back to City Hall, which is important. And so I need all the help I can get because there's a significant backlog, as you can only imagine, on just neighborhood services. And so that person is going to be really well received, and we will have a district office as well. So we're working on that. We have our 3 base people that we have hired, and then that fourth person will be coming on the next 90 days. So the first thing I'll start with is, and how much time do I have? Because I could talk for a long time. 20 minutes, okay. And I have a timer right there. Okay, well, not a timer, but a clock. You all didn't provide a timer this time. Okay, so council projects. The first thing that we have on the docket is the comprehensive plan. That's going to be huge. That's going to shape our city. The comprehensive plan right now, actually today is the last day for public comment. It got pushed back another 2 weeks. What we've been hearing around the district, people want more housing options, plain and simple. They want them everywhere. They feel like what we have proposed, not what we have, what the mayor's office has proposed is not enough right now. People want to be able to purchase a home. They want to be able to have stable rents. They want to be able to have access to transportation. That's what we've been getting. The feedback has been they want more. So our office has sent a letter to OPCD. It had 4 things in there. First thing was we need more housing. And ask them to give us feedback about different plans that they have proposed. The second thing is for them to understand the environmental impacts of the transportation piece, because if we don't build enough housing, a lot of people are going to be driving into the city for all the jobs. And that creates a lot of the environmental impact issues that we're having in our world. The third thing is advocating for young families. Our city has to be a city for young families. That's the only way our civilization will survive. And right now, as you all know, that we are experiencing a significant lapse in attendance for young kids in our Seattle public schools. That's because we don't have enough young families in our city. It's not affordable. So we talked about that. The fourth piece was also the environmental impact that's going to have on our city in terms of, a lot of people have been talking about like tree loss, but also I don't think people understand that if we do not have enough housing in our city, the amount of tree loss that happens outside of our city is even greater because we're not creating enough housing here. So what we're going to talk about, we're waiting for OPCD to give us that information back, but we're looking forward to kind of push them on more housing for our city. The second thing, move levy. We have asked you all to support a $1.45 billion levy for transportation. So I'm the vice chair of transportation. I'll tell you the things that I like about the move levy and the things that I want us to improve on. The things that I like. Number 1, we are focusing on repairing our current infrastructure in the city. Sidewalks, potholes. I call them the bold basics. A lot of people say that's boring. I do not think that's boring. There's a lot of repairs in the city that we have not done. So that's the one thing that I really like. It makes a pretty good investment on sidewalks, potholes, side streets that are incredibly important. And so that's one thing that I really like. The second thing, I really like the investment of safe passages to schools. So what does that do? That is the crosswalks, making sure they're well lit, making sure we're repairing sidewalks around schools. We're doing traffic calming. So cars aren't just speeding down 23rd, creating unsafe environments for our kids. Those are the 2 things that I like. The third thing that I really like is also the investment in sidewalks. So that's particularly in there where it identifies District 5 and District 2 with creating new sidewalks, not repairing them, but creating new infrastructure of sidewalks, because those 2 districts, District 1, District 2, and District 5, do not have enough sidewalks. So District 1 is West Seattle. District 2 is South Seattle, so anything south of I-90. And District 5 is North Seattle, so Northgate, Northgate, that's Councilmember Moore's district. So those are the three things that I do like. It also makes a pretty good size investment in transportation. So some of the bus lanes you might see, or transit, some of the bus lanes, bike lanes. It also repairs some of the bike lanes. It creates connectivity to them. I know you all are dealing with a bike repair up, was it Pike Pine? That's been going on. Oh, and the mess on Madison. They've been having open heart surgery on Madison for like 3 years now. That's going to be finished in August of this year. God willing, I'm so happy. My church is First AME Church. We are right on Madison. You have no idea. And I also live a block away. So I have asked SDOT to speed up the project. Jensen Construction is the people that are responsible for it. I have begged them as well. August, God willing, that will be done. And I know we're extremely excited for the G line. Then they're going to start more projects, but G line will be done on Madison, which is important. I know a lot of people have been talking about being able to navigate to the different hospitals or their doctor's office, the schools that are right by off Madison and 12th. So there's just been a lot of issues there, but trust me, it's going to get finished. So I'm excited about that. The couple things that in the MOVE levy that we need to make sure that we add in there. One of the things people have talked about has been creating so we have different transportation arterials in our city. So one of them was Madison. One of them is 23rd. We also have like MLK. We also have different arterials around the city. People want those repaired, just restored, because right now, because those ways we've increased a lot of the usage along the street, a lot of those roads have been, kind of just withered away significantly. So people have asked for specific projects to be identified in the levy. The last levy had specific projects. This one does not. It just says a range of stuff. And so people want commitment from SDOT regarding specific projects. We don't want to just let SDOT do whatever they want to do when they feel like it. We want to have specific projects. So that's one thing that I will be advocating for. If you all have specific projects, particularly in our district, that you want to see on the levy or advocated for, I'm more than happy to put those and elevate those to SDOT. So I think that's really important. The next piece that I want to talk about is the Select Budget Committee. So Dan Strauss, Councilmember Strauss, is the chair of the Select Budget Committee. As you all know, we have a $240+ million deficit with our city for budgeting. And so right now, everyone is on the Select Budget Committee. We have been getting briefed on the forecasts of our city revenue. We've been getting briefed on how much money stuff is costing us in terms of programming, contracts. As you all know, we approved, which I'll more than happy to answer questions. We have just approved a SPOG contract. We approved a new labor agreement with city employees. All this continues to add to our deficit. So we're going to be working really, really hard with the mayor's office in the fall, starting in September, to really understand where we are and some of the tough decisions that we're going to have to make with our city. Those are going to be really tough. Councilmember Strauss has been working extremely hard on understanding, are there crossover? So for example, we spend a ton of money on a tree expert in arborist, with our parks department, but we also have an arborist with our SDOT. We also have an arborist in another department as well. Can we combine those, right? So there's a lot of crossover which we can combine with the spending piece, but not $50 million worth. And so those are going to be tough decisions where we're going to have to talk about how much we're spending and are we getting that impact? And that's going to be crucial. So that's going to be coming down the line. And on this paper that I have, you're going to see emails on here where you can either email myself to advocate. I will come here to take all of your, the issues that you have and be able to elevate them. But just know that all the contact information is on here. The projects that we have going on in the city. So from District 3, this is from the city particularly, then I'll go from our office. The first one is the Cal Anderson Park restoration. So right now there's a fence around Cal Anderson Park, the Sun Bowl. That will be taken down. We will be adding park rangers to Cal Anderson, and we'll also be adding a bathroom attendant. So the bathroom will be opened, but we will have an attendant there who's going to be cleaning and just managing the bathroom, and park rangers. There's a lot of drug use that's going on at Cal Anderson on Nagel Place. There's a lot of activity. We're trying to clean up the graffiti. I think having the park rangers, a presence there, and also having someone staffing the bathroom is really going to help alleviate a lot of those. We want that back open for the summer. So that's the first thing that we're doing. Yes, we're happy about that. We're really happy. I talked about the G line. J line construction, that's going to be in Eastlake. That's going to be huge for our city. There's going to be a lot of business owners it's going to be a tough issue to navigate because on the G line on Madison, you're able to branch off to different ways, right? You're able to navigate if you need to go on Rainier, MLK. For Eastlake is very different. You're bordered by the water and the freeway. And so I've been talking to the senior home ages down there, also a lot of small businesses that are along Eastlake to make sure that this process includes them and we can just navigate the construction mitigation. Public safety concerns from the city particularly. We have gun violence and shootings that are happening in our district, small business robberies, broken windows, and the fentanyl crisis. So one of the projects that I know that the city is trying to tackle is obviously increasing police patrol, mental health options for our care team, which a bill's gonna come down from the mayor's office so we can ramp up having responses for the mental health crisis that's going on our streets. That's gonna be huge with Chief Smith. And also understanding a lot of the nonprofits that respond to a lot of the mental health pieces. A lot of people just don't know. So we're trying to get all of that together so it's a coordinated response because right now it's just been piecemealed. Which has been really, really challenging in our district. So just know that the city is working on that piece regarding us having more than just 6 care team people. We need more than 6. Right now, the bill calls for 26 folks, which I think is going to be a major increase, and taking them from downtown, putting them in District 3, putting them in District 5, so they can have a wider response to where they go and outreach. The other big piece, the fire department, they have a Health One team, but particularly the fire department has a new drug that they administer to people. It's called it starts with a B. It has a weird name, but what this does is it stabilizes the patient that might be on fentanyl so they could just think clearly, so they don't have that urge to try to find their next fix. And it's a game changer for our fire department because what usually happens is if someone's they're in crisis, they're having an episode, the fire team will go there, revive them, and the person will just walk away. But if they offer this drug, that person will be able to stabilize and understand like, hey, I would like help, or what's the next step for treatment? It helps create, clarity so they don't have to find that next urge. And so our fire department will have stats here in a bit. It was about a month that's been implemented. So we're looking forward to finding the stats on that. District 3 projects from our office. First one, Pike Pine public safety issues. Your Broadway, where I'm sure a lot of you probably go and get groceries at the QFC. So what we are working on is an ambassador program that is people on their bikes, people cleaning up, people power washing, people cleaning graffiti, people picking up trash along Pike Pine in District 3. I've talked to the property owner at QFC. I've talked to the Harvard Market. I've talked to all the property owners around there. Everybody wants to see change because we know that is a hot spot for our district. That property owner at the QFC, his name is Morris. He's already has security that's right outside of QFC now. And so it's kind of pushed a lot of the stuff kind of into different areas of the Pike Pine corridor. We're looking forward to working to get those people help and for services, but creating a safe environment to where the QFC doesn't look like, like locked down with the metal doors. You know, just doesn't look inviting. But unfortunately, they have to act like that just because of some of the issues that they've been having. So that's one of the projects we're working on. The second one, a family youth resource guide. I go to so many meetings like this, and people said, I had no idea that department existed. I had no idea that program existed. So we are doing a community resource guide for folks. That's going to be done in the next 90 days for families, for youth, to be able to understand all the resources that are available for them to the city, which is important because a lot of people don't know this area is staffed by, for outreach for people experiencing homelessness, is Salvation Army. But a lot of people are like, I had no idea. At any point in time, you can call them because this is the area that they service. So a lot of people don't know certain things, which I think is incredibly important. And I see that I have about 5 more minutes. And I want to be able to answer questions as well, because I know you all have a lot of them. Well, you all did for the debates. Y'all had a lot of questions. But the committees that I'm on, which is important, I am the chair of Parks, Utilities, and Technology. So Parks, Utilities, and Technology. Any park in the city, so I'm the chair of that, which is phenomenal. We also, Utilities, which is Seattle Public Utilities, not Seattle City Light. Seattle City Light is under Councilmember Wu. Seattle Public Utilities, which is your wastewater, your garbage, regular drinking water. Director Lee has been phenomenal, so I'm in charge of that. And then technology. So anything with the city that's technology. So that could be how you're interacting with our internet. That could be how, we're keeping data in the city. That is under our office. I'm the vice chair of transportation. So Councilmember Saka is the chair of transportation. So he's the one leading the charge on the move levy, but I'm the vice chair of transportation. So I have conversations with him all the time about transportation needs in our city. The third thing, I'm a member of public safety. So Councilmember Kettle is the chair of public safety. If you all remember last year, it was public safety and human services was one committee. Now it's public safety, it's its own committee. I think that's really important because that shows our commitment to creating a safe Seattle, but also the sense of urgency that we have to make sure that we're only isolating public safety in one committee. So that's important. The next piece, I'm a member of Neighborhood Education and Libraries. So Councilmember Rivera is the chair of that. I'm a member of that. I'm also a member of the Governance, Accountability, and Economic Development. So that committee is chaired by Council President Nelson. And so I'm on that committee. That goes over anything that has to do with a government contract, accountability, also economic development, which is incredibly important. So that committee, I'm really proud to be a part of that one. The regional committees that I'm on, they just threw me on everything. I'm a part of the Regional Transportation Committee. That meets once a month. That's really fun. Chair Mosqueda, who's at King County, is actually the chair of that committee. And we are allowed 2 people from the city of Seattle to sit on that committee. That's the Regional Transportation Committee. The next one, Board of Health. This is one of my favorite ones. Chair Mosqueda is also the chair of Board of Health. We're allowed 3 people on that committee. So it's myself, Council President Nelson, and Council Member Kettle. So we're on that committee. We also meet once a month, and that committee particularly is specific to all the health issues that are going on in our city. Under that would be fentanyl. So we have the fentanyl. We had presentations so far about what's going on with fentanyl, what outreach is happening, what resources are available with our county. We're really pushing hard on our county to address the public health crisis that's going on in our city because we do give them money to be able to navigate those issues. That's not all they do, but that's really important to our city. Last but not least, my favorite one, I'm on the Regional Water Quality Committee. Councilmember Balducci is the chair of that one. She's my favorite. She knows everything about water, and I call her like, she could technically be like the Carl Sagan of water, if there was one, like he was to the cosmos, but she is to the water. So Councilmember Balducci is the chair of that one. Again, we meet once a month. That's really important for us to understand. I just toured the West Point water facility over in Discovery Park. It was beautiful. But the one thing that we talked about was the major infrastructure investment that we're going to have because of the aging infrastructure that we have in our city. And so one of the things that we don't want to do is put it on the ratepayer for the infrastructure needs. I think a lot of the thing we have to ask the federal government. That's going to be one of my things that I'm going to be advocating for the federal government to be able to invest, because this is particularly, we are protecting the Puget Sound, right? With treating wastewater before it goes out into the sound. That's a public benefit for the entire country. The federal government should be able to provide resources for that. So a lot of the infrastructure needs, it shouldn't just be on the ratepayer, which obviously costs are always going up on water. I know we all get a water bill and go, I don't know about this one, but that's one thing that we're working on. I will stop there because that's been 20 minutes, I think, and I will answer questions because I have been babbling on, and I know you all didn't come here to see me just babble. That was a lot of information. I'll stay right here.
I don't want her to stop, so make your questions very short and to the point so we can hear more from our council member. So I need 3 men. This is the League of Women Voters, so I need 3 men to carry the mic. And you may ask the first question.
I get to go over there.
And please say your name.
She was first.
Karen Perret here. Joy, thank you for the presentation. It was great. I really learned a lot, and it helped me to zero in. My question has to do with your first point. You talked about the move on levy, and the way you introduced your comments, I thought you were going to say something about what you didn't like about it, because you did talk about what you did like about it.
Yes, I don't like how much it's going to cost. I'll say that. It's a lot of money, $1.45 billion. Not to say I don't like that, because I know that we have to pay for things that we need. What I would like to see more in the levy, honestly, is an investment in sidewalks. It makes an initial investment, but we have to have more sidewalks. And I think it doesn't have to be the granddaddy of sidewalks, but it could be pathways, different ways in which we can keep the costs down. But I would like to just see more investment in sidewalks, because that is the first step to creating a really good transportation plan.
Some of us at Horizon House have been very interested in promoting the plan to lid I-5, and there's a proposal to put some money for that into the MOVE levy. What's your position about that?
Yeah, I think connecting District 7 to District 3 with a lid would be great, and would fully support the proposal to, I've met with lid I-5. They've received $2 million from Patty Murray's office to be able to continue to do some of the, not the design work, but just more of the research piece. If we needed to give money from the city to be able to continue to do that, I would be happily open to discussion and to figure out ways we can continue to push that project forward.
Over here.
Bill Roach, I understand that the voucher program is up for review this year. It's been a very important way of allowing us all to contribute to voting to candidates. I'm wondering what your position on that is.
Fully support the voucher program. It was a way where I was able to raise the money I needed for campaigning. One of the things I would like us to do better with the voucher program is the education piece. I couldn't begin to tell you how many people I ran into who just didn't know about it. So I think our outreach needs to be a lot better than what it currently is at the city, and then partnering with different organizations that can be able to tell folks what it is through video or photos. We just got to do a better job of that so more people participate. But I'm all for renewing it, and have talked to my other colleagues as well about it.
My name is Sally Wren, and I have a question. My father was responsible for getting a lot of young men into CCC camps. And why can't we ask the government to support us in getting a plan like that for our youth to learn trades, apprentice, help us in the parks? To me, that's such a missed opportunity.
Absolutely. So one of the things, I couldn't agree more. The average age for a utility person in the city of Seattle is 55. The average age of a labor union is between 45, a member of a labor union, between 45 and 55. And so we see this population getting older and older and less kids getting into the trades. We have a Promise program, which is phenomenal for the city, which takes any public school kid that graduates public school. They're able to get free tuition at the Seattle colleges. What that plan does not do is encourage the trades. And so what I would like to see is that if someone did not want to go to Seattle public, didn't want to go to Seattle colleges, but maybe wanted to go on an apprentice program or go to Seattle City Light to be a light worker, right? They could be able to get that scholarship to be able to do that. So that's one thing that we're working on. We call it Dirty Hands, Clean Money. And it's a Seattle, under our Seattle Youth Initiative that I'm going to get all the council members. It's one of our projects that we're going to take on, is going to be workforce development for our kids, because right now they don't have a lot to do. A lot of the community centers have not closed, but tweaked their hours, and they need to have something that's going to stimulate them. I think the trades is a wonderful opportunity, but we're working on that. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how far your district goes, but my apartment faces the park and faces basically that part of the city. It's devastating to us who have lived here many years to see the difference, what is happening to downtown. I know that there are all kinds of programs, all kinds of thoughts about how to revitalize. You were excellent this morning. You have just, if I were 25 years younger, I would be in your office helping you. Can you tell me more?
Can you help now? No. Go ahead.
Can you tell me more what is happening downtown, what the plans are?
Yes, ma'am. I'll start by identifying the district boundaries, and then I'll talk about downtown. I was supposed to do that. Ms. Joan had told me, don't be mad at me. Okay, so District 3, Montlake, so think of the Montlake Bridge, all of Eastlake. You have Madison Park, Eastlake, North Capitol Hill, Volunteer Park. And then the boundaries for this area is, does anyone know where Skyline is? Right? So you have one tower's on 7th, the other tower's on 6th. I have tower that's on the 7th side. Councilmember Kettle has on the 6th side, okay, that tower. That's why him and I work together. They're trying to propose to get a skyline. And so we wrote letters in support of that. The design review committee actually approved there, and now it's going to come to council. So we're going to be fighting hard for that. But that's the boundaries there. We do not have. Then it's Madison. I don't have Harborview, so now it's really wonky when you get up into this area on Madison. I don't have Yesler. I have Juckins, Leschi. Juckins, Leschi Central District, and Madrona as well. I do not have Mount Baker, that's south. So anything south of I-90 is District 2. Chinatown used to be in District 3, like 12th and Jackson, that's now District 2. So they've just kind of, it's really weird when it gets over in those areas. Downtown activation plan. I'll tell you what we're doing well, and I'll tell you what we need to improve on. What we're doing really well is for the average tourist. Tourist comes to Seattle, they get to see a beautiful waterfront, that you have $1 billion down at the waterfront that has been invested in. Our waterfront is now first class. It's going to be, the aquarium's going to get open in August of this year. We also, the new oceanfront, it's the Ocean Pavilion. It's this huge piece with this connector that goes up to Pike Place Market. It's beautiful. We also have our convention center, right? So if you're a tourist, Seattle is gorgeous. What we have to do a better job of are people that are just everyday folks, people that live in the city, that live in the region, to be able to go down to downtown to enjoy it, that magical experience. I think when I told y'all when I came here, I remember downtown as a place I jumped in my grandma's Cadillac. After I got an A on a report card, we go down to the Bon Marché and shop, go to Nordstrom's for lunch. It was nostalgic. It was beautiful. That does not exist right now. And so we have to make downtown safe, once again. So like creating safe. The cleanliness of downtown needs to improve significantly. That's what we're working on as well. But it's not going to be the Macy's or the Chili's downtown where people are going to. It has to be the arts. We have to do a better job of investing in our arts, our culture, our entertainment. We also have a convention center that's booked 65 conventions for this year, over 300 events for the year. That is huge because that's pre-pandemic levels, right? It's not all the way there, but it is bouncing back, which is huge. So, stimulating that piece, but it's going to be arts and culture and activation for downtown. Also, last but not least, has anyone ever visited Vancouver, Washington at all? Or not Vancouver, Washington, sorry, Vancouver, BC, right? You go there at any point in time, downtown is hustling and bustling. That's because they have housing downtown, they have restaurants, they have this community, they have grocery stores. We used to laugh at Vancouver because they would do the reverse commute. We were like, why are people living downtown and coming outside to the city for jobs? It was pandemic proof and nobody knew that. And now Vancouver has withstood the test of time in showing us how we need to do our downtown. That is the blueprint. So the mayor has a downtown activation plan that he is working on. It's going to take a little time, but it does cause for investment in housing downtown, grocery stores. I know a PCC just closed. They were spending $300,000 a year in just security downtown. That's the safety piece I'm talking about. So it's creating a safe environment, a clean environment, and a place that we have schools, daycares, and housing as well.
Over here.
May I ask a question? Joy, you talked about the comprehensive plan at the outset and the need for housing and particularly in transportation corridors. One of my concerns is that in the push for density, what I've noticed in several neighborhoods that rezoning allows for existing small businesses in older properties to be eliminated. The developers come in and build 6-story buildings, and the rents they have to charge for commercial at the sidewalk level is much higher than what they're displacing. I'm concerned about how you all balance out the need for density and the need for housing, but in a way that doesn't destroy the small businesses in our neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's a great question, Mr. Sam. Okay, so let me explain real quick about my lens of density. When I was knocking in the Central District, I would knock on a single family home. There would be 10 to 12 people that lived in that home because they had, 3, 4, 5 generations that shared that family home. But on paper, our Office of Planning will say, well, that's a single family home. If we put 4 more houses on there, we're going to have more density. But those 4 townhomes are owned by one person per, townhome. So you're just, it's little nuances like that, which I don't think our city planners have that insight, understanding about density in that way. And so I've been talking to them about that so they kind of understand before they just say, hey, we need to tear down this single family home and put an apartment building, actually how many people are living in that home, because those folks can't afford to go out and buy a home because it's so expensive. And so the small businesses, Mr. Sam, are incredibly important to Seattle. And what we've been hearing from them is how they've just been getting priced out because of rents, because of the cost of just doing business in Seattle, how hard it is to get a permit, all these different challenges that I don't think we've been welcoming to small businesses. It's a delicate balance. I've been advocating that to the director. He has a long last name. I just call him Director Rico. because I can't pronounce his last name, and he's okay with that. So Director Rico, regarding the comprehensive plan, I don't think people understand how incredibly important it is to have a District 3 representative being able to advocate for stuff. We've missed out on a lot of stuff that just has to do with day-to-day city functioning stuff for 10 years. And so just we're a little bit behind, but those are things that I've been elevating to the OPCD.
Hi. Hi, I'm Jim Gale. My daughter Chloe has been in the REACH program for homelessness for 20 years. Wow. She has convinced me that the only solution to homelessness is going to be more housing. My question is, where do we stand? And I know this is a long-term solution, but with all of the other expenses about now, living and so on, where do we stand with moving the needle on long-term housing for homelessness?
How did she convince you? No, she got you wrapped around her finger. She, daddy's, granddad girl. No, okay. So where we are with moving the needle. Of course, I had said this before that I believe housing, homelessness is a housing problem. But you can't tell that to someone who's living on the streets because it takes us 20, 30 years to build housing. That's just not going to solve the problem. I'm a proponent in investment in all different types of shelter, housing options, RV car lots that are safe, any type of thing that's going to give someone shelter in the meantime while we're building housing. I think the problem is we've had this argument with saying, well, we have to build housing or it's nothing. Well, someone who's living on the street doesn't want to hear that. And a lot of people have asked for tiny housing. A lot of people have asked for, well, if I had an RV car lot that was safe, I could be able to park my RV in that lot to be able to have shelter. Or there are some sanctioned encampments around the city where you probably pass one and it's, might be on a church parking lot and it's covered up and, they have an entrance where it's safe and people come in. Those are going to be some of our solutions that we're going to have to get comfortable with in the meantime while we're building housing. Our King County Regional Homeless Authority, they weren't really particularly keen on the temporary shelter relief, but we're in a housing crisis, and those are going to be some options that we're going to have to be on, or else we're going to continue to see what we see outside. We also have to ramp up our social services in terms of just mental health, because a lot of folks, unfortunately, have significant mental health needs. And last but not least, the fentanyl crisis is really crippling folks. And at some point, we have to really start getting real with our health providers that if someone's on fentanyl, they are mentally not at the level to make decisions for themselves about what's good or bad or any of these things. We have to start understanding, we're going to have to maybe make some decisions for them until they can get return at a level mentally where they can start being able to make decisions. It's not one or the other, I think, but it's been an argument, one or the other, just like public safety. People think it's a partisan issue. It's a nonpartisan issue. So those are things that we're going up against. But I know that the King County Regional Homeless Authority is now open to temporary shelter options. Yes. Last question is what I was told. I didn't make that decision, so don't get mad. I'm just repeating what the boss says.
Hi, my name is Bob Brown. I was at University of Washington professor in atmospheric sciences for 30 years, and I spent most of my time recently predicting global atmospheric catastrophe. And what you do is not going to matter too much 20 years from now because there won't be any more Homo sap. I realize this is way beyond yours somewhat, but I think you have to do grassroots work too, the energy supply in your homes and so on. Are you much concerned with that yet, or do you listen to Donald Trump who says the whole thing's a fraud?
No, well, I'm doing my part. I'm a vegan, so every time you eat a burger, you're contributing to 65 miles of carbon emissions. 50 miles? Is it 50 or 65? One of the two. So I'm doing my part. I think we have to localize our food resources. I think would be huge. I think energy efficient homes is going to be huge. Some of the city investments, I don't think single occupancy cars are going away anytime soon, meaning we have to make an investment for electric cars, the infrastructure, like the for people to be able to charge them, because right now it's, people don't like cars, and I understand that, but I also know there's a lot of people that rely on them. Can we transition people to just electric cars? Can we just meet some way in the middle and provide the infrastructure for that, in addition to the transit options that we have in our city with the buses and the bikes and the sidewalks? I think that's really important as well. So yeah, I don't listen to Donald Trump. That's my answer. I'm a vegan. Yes. One more thing. I want to say one more thing that's really important. On the back of this paper, you're going to have all of our emails. You have a picture of our entire staff, our emails as well. You also have a picture of all the council people and what they do, what committees that they are chair on. And then you also you can sign up for our newsletter. And last but not least, there's an email on here that's called d3help@seattle.gov. It could be as simple as, Joy, our sidewalk has buckled. Send it to d3help@seattle.gov. Or, you need something that's particular to the district that you need help with fixing or navigating. You can also send me an email, but the d3help@seattle.gov goes on all of our radars, and we're able to answer it just a little bit faster because you get a ticket with it, and then we're able to navigate. But I will say, please give us a little bit of grace time. I've asked this everywhere I go because our inbox is flooded with different requests. We will get to it. So I know a lot of people said, well, Joy, I haven't heard from you in a week. And I go, okay, well, just give me another week and we'll be able to answer it. Just give me just a little bit of grace. It's very important to us, and we are navigating it. Last but not least, we are priding ourselves on neighborhood services, constituent services for you all. That is incredibly important. I know as a District 3 council member, you have legislation, you have governing, and you also have constituent services. We are priding ourselves on constituent services just so we can have a hold on all the backlog that's been going on in our district. That is very important for you all to understand that my job, as simple as your garbage didn't get picked up, or you have an issue with a sidewalk, or you need a 2-hour parking sign restored, or there's graffiti, whatever it is, please know that that's our job, and we're happy to serve you, okay? So thank you.
She had to cut this a little bit short because she has an important conference meeting in our Myrtle Edwards room at 11:30. So thank you again, Councilwoman